Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Healthy Living Scottsdale Podcast. I am your host, Coach Adam, here with Coach Damon today and Director Jolie in the house. We're going to get into a topic here about, are you actually getting stronger, or are you just feeling tired, or just feeling the accumulation of fatigue after your workouts, how to kind of manage that, how to see if you're getting stronger. Obviously, it's a very much of a feel thing. But how to reflect on your strength gains and on where to not confuse that with, RPE or tired, fatigue, how you're feeling when you're walking out of the gym. But before we get into that, as always, member of the week for this week, Mr. Mitch Everett. Mitch.
Go, Mitch.
So,
Beast.
Beast. He's like 6'8". So, no, he's not 6'8". I don't know. He's tall. He's so a physical beast when he walks in. But on a serious note, got a little bit of health news recently. He's going to have a large procedure done in the not too far future. So kind of woke him up, for lack of a better term, in a sense. He's making a lot of nutritional and health changes in his daily life. Basically trying to prep himself the best he can going into this procedure that's somewhere close down the line here. So he wants to just be prepped, well-conditioned. Obviously, the doctors have kind of all told him the same information as well, but you can see kind of something switched for him here in the after. He trains in the afternoons.
Yeah. He's really, he took, sometimes we can get things diagnosed for our health and take it one way of like, it's, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing in the world. And he was like, no, how can I train to like best prepare myself, make nutritional choices, just really honed in. It's like he's on a mission. He's like, yeah, I'm training for life and for overall health and wellness. And he's like really integrating it.
Yeah, had a good attitude about that, and not always easy to do when you get news you don't want to hear sometimes. So way to absorb that and like redirect that energy, Mitch. So keeping it up, keeping it rolling for as long as we can here.
Let's go.
All right. So question for the audience, obviously rhetorical. I can't hear you guys listening to this. Have you ever walked out of the gym completely destroyed or just tired, dripping, but maybe you're not feeling stronger in a sense? Maybe you happen to have jumped on an in-body recently, not seeing the numbers you're expecting to see. But when you're leaving the gym, you're like, how is this possible? I'm feeling, absolutely gassed, like I had a great workout, blah, 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 all this stuff. So maybe you're sore all the time. Maybe, the workouts, some people think a longer workout for some reason is a better one. Or just having covered, we've had to kind of redirect a couple people's thinking on this seeking of the pump, is what I would call it maybe, where especially men, but sometimes women will talk about wanting to feel like they crushed a specific muscle group. They're like, like we're doing total body workouts, like everything feels great, like I'm feeling strong, whatever, but I want to feel like I just crushed my back today or something like that. And we kind of have to explain the reasoning why we don't program that way.
Right. It's like that more is better mentality that I think we see a lot of sometimes. And usually people are super open to understanding like, oh, okay, maybe more is not better in the way that they originally thought.
Right. Yes. So gonna kind of break down here the difference between productive training and like this training that you're kind of talking about and explaining that, and what like a term would be maybe junk volume or junk kind of fluff training, and like what the difference is right here. Damon's smiling at me, fluffy boy. All right. So what causes actual strength gains? You want to take away like the 3 to 4 main kind of big points are like the drivers of strength, and how you can kind of, measure that or ensure you're getting it here in the gym?
Yeah, so the 4 drivers that I would believe that gain strength is first and foremost progressive overload. I feel like that's something that we talk about all the time to our clients when we are trying to go through our cycle and getting in, especially into the strength phase, since we're towards the end of it right now. But this is when it's trying to start at high reps maybe, and then as we're going throughout the cycle, we're going to lower the reps, but pick up the weight higher and higher as the weeks go on. So that's one example. Right. And then there's mechanical tension, being able to have a heavy enough load to be able to control it, but but also produce enough force to be having that tempo and that speed.
Yeah.
And then for 3, we have the proximity to failure. What that means is that you're not going until you're in your very last reps where you're putting all your might into it, where you're probably compensating a couple other muscles to get it, but just enough to where you could have maybe 2 to 3 reps left in the tank is where I would explain that.
Yeah.
And then lastly, recovery. That's usually just sleep, eating a good meal, having protein, the carbs, as well as a little bit of fats as well to be able to make your body feel as best as it can be for the next day.
Yeah, because the main goal is to be able to turn around and do it tomorrow, right? So it's like that's like when we were programming, we specifically program in a way where you come in on a Monday, you do a certain, maybe a push-pull day or something like that, and you're hitting a certain number of muscle groups. The next day is designed to be the opposite of that so that you can turn around and do back-to-back days, plan your week out a little bit more, effectively. I think a good thing that you touched on, that second point with the mechanical tension kind of stuff, the controlled eccentrics, that's kind of a shift that I've tried to, when I'm on the floor, instill in, sometimes both men and women actually, but we see a little bit more ego lifting with the men. And that is, it's very easy to do in a strength phase because we're asking you to do 5 sets of 5 reps. 5's a pretty low number. You can do almost anything for 5 reps, right? But we want to make sure that we are in control the whole time, right? We want to control the weight. We don't want the weight to control us. So like barbell bent over row, perfect example. It's just fresh in my mind because we had it in yesterday's workout. Somebody's barbell rowing 205 pounds yesterday. Looking over at this guy, we're looking like barbell row, right? Checklist from the ground up, soft knees, shoulder width apart. We're trying to hinge at the hips so we can get the back to be as parallel to the ground as possible, We had a lot of weight on the bar, obviously, which, is a good thing. We want them to be loading up heavy. But this row is looking like a shrug, right? It's like if I were to ask you right now, are you feeling that in your lower lats and like your rhomboids and stuff like that? The answer would have been no, for sure. And there's a lot of jerky movements and shrugging there. And that's the kind of control that we're talking about. You don't want to ego lift to have a massive number on your tablet or our programming, whatever we keep track of here. You want to be able to execute these movements safely in as much control as possible. Don't worry too much about the number, but like you're just competing against yourself, right? You don't need to jump from 165 pounds to 205 pounds. Like even just a 10-pound jump, if your form stays perfect, like that's a big win for you, right? So the form is big because that plays a role in, injury risk and joint health and stuff down the line. So your body is trying to adapt to the stresses that you put on it. Don't have those stresses bury you, right? You don't want this intentional stress that you're putting on it, like this heavy row, to then turn around and bite you in the butt and cause a shoulder problem or a low back problem or something like that.
Right. Yeah. And I think for people too, it's, yes, that full range of motion is so important, working the proper muscle groups that we're aiming to target. And then I think something that we do a good job here with our members is like, just because you lifted this much last week, everyone's wanting to go up and get better and get stronger.
Yep.
But that might mean, okay, maybe we're not at 205 yet, but we're at like 185, 195, and we're getting that full range of motion, and we're actually doing what the exercise is supposed to be doing, working the proper muscle groups, right? And so I think that term ego lifting, right, that's kind of where it comes into play. Is like, well, I went up last time, I need to go up again. Okay, well, check in with your coach, like be like, hey, do you think I can, capable of doing this? Like, let's try it. Can I have a spot? But also being comfortable with doing the same weight that you were doing, knowing that you're still getting the full benefit of that same exercise.
And you're not necessarily going to feel the same coming into the gym every day for every workout too. Yeah. So it's like maybe you had a great day on whatever that heavy lift was. If you come back next week and try to, barbell row again, but your energy level or whatever, isn't the same as it was, don't expect to perform the same way. Like, it's all relative, right?
No, I definitely agree with that. We literally had a client today that was getting frustrated over bench press. I went up to him and I said, hey, you were literally sick to your bed for an entire week last week, and you expect yourself to just go 205 no warm up? Like,
right.
let's take it back a notch and just worry about your form. Because when your body goes through a stress such as being sick, like whether it's flu or whatever the case might be, you should understand that you're not going to be right away back to where you're going to be. You got to learn that you have to take a little step back to be able to take 2 steps forward.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree.
And it's great. We all want to be better. And we're not saying like, don't strive to be better. It's just there are certain markers that we as coaches are looking for, right, to progress you.
Yes.
And then also making sure like, hey, we're getting a good workout can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah. Like when Damon's walking around the floor, Tara's walking around the floor, I'm walking around, we're running through a checklist in our head. How's the range of motion? Is there symmetry here? Is there compensation? Does this movement look like what it's supposed to move like? Like just common sense things. That's what we're kind of keeping tabs on as we're doing our coaching. So keep trying to increase on your own smartly. We're going to have input as coaches as to, you know, how quickly you should do that, or maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't, but always, yes, keep in mind that you're trying to get better every day. So good mentality to have. So getting into kind of another thing here, like red flags as far as maybe when you're just starting to accumulate fatigue or stress, tiredness, and not necessarily the results maybe on paper that you're looking for. And we were just talking off air before this about like what results really look like. And Joel, how are you were saying like first you're going to notice
right.
like those 3, how'd you put it?
Yeah, a lot of people come in and they're like, well, when am I going to see the weight come off or the strength gains? Usually from experience, maybe you guys can agree with this. I've noticed with a lot of people, you will feel it within 2 weeks. Yep. And that can mean energy levels. That can mean just digestion's better, sleep is better, things like that. You'll start to notice things. Usually guys will be like, oh, I'm feeling it in my biceps.
Sleeves are tight.
Yeah, sleeves are tight, things like that, in 4 weeks. And then usually in about 6 weeks, other people can notice it. Now, that's not true for every single person. But
yeah, it's like kind of like a natural progression. Like you're going to feel it, then you're going to see it, then other people are going to notice it. And that's always a great feeling, obviously, because that's that like aesthetic win that everybody's obviously wanting in the back of their minds when it comes to exercise and stuff. So with the results, that's how you're kind of feeling the results. Red flags here as to when maybe fatigue is taking over and why you're not getting the results is if you're constantly sore. Okay, you're not recovering enough. Maybe you're using the wrong techniques. You think you're executing something right. Maybe not. Maybe you are. Plateaued lifts would just be not following like the progressive overload that Damon was talking about earlier. Irritability, that's more of like an emotional thing. Like that's like an emotional stress, right? Like if you get irritated, or you were saying like frustrated, this guy this morning, it's like, and for that example, sick, maybe still recovering, you know, a little bit of stress from just like the body being sick for a week. So a little bit irritated, a little bit frustrated as to why he's not able to perform the same, understanding that like that was the reason why, right? Bad sleep is kind of tied to true recovery. You know, there's different kinds of sleep, and we've talked about this before, but actually recovering during sleep versus sleeping and having not full recovery. So the quality of that. Joint pain has to do with a lot of, you know, form-based stuff and making sure we're doing movements correctly. And then if you're feeling like you need deloads a lot, like, you know, maybe you go super hard for 1 week and then you come in the next week and you're burnt. You're like, I can't, you know, just completely burnt out. That's like an energy supply problem, right? You're not recovering well enough, but maybe you're not giving your body the same energy that it needed the week prior to be able to execute. So this could be a sign of, you know, early signs of overtraining, like just not understanding that you need days off. You can't turn it around and do it every single day in the same capacity. So that's kind of, you know, red flags I think most people can probably agree with they've run into at some point, as far as it comes to actually being more fatigued and not so much, you know, locking in on their results. So I like this quote right here. I didn't get who it was from, but fatigue masks fitness. If you're always tired, you can't express your strength. So, you know, being able to recover appropriately, or else it's It's going to be whatever you said earlier, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's just going to cancel out. Some stuff on cardio, because this plays a role in everything as well. We talked about VO2 max a week or two ago, if you want to go back and listen to that. But cardio can help recovery when it's done correctly, right? So we have our strength sessions here. They last about 45 to 55 minutes, and then there's a few minutes at the end of the session to be able to do some kind of cardio or conditioning. We want to make sure that it's moderate and it helps you start the recovery process, right? It doesn't want to be, we don't want to crush it with strength training and then turn around and crush your cardiovascular system, because it's going to be that much harder to return the next day, right? And that's the goal. So, a few days where you're having some conditioning, but make sure to vary the intensity, right? Sometimes it's short bursts. Sometimes, like yesterday, I was having people jump on the bike for like 1.5 miles. That's almost like a cool down. I'm not asking you to sprint 1.5 miles, right? It's like, let's get the heart flowing. Let's get the blood flowing to the right areas, distribute the lactic acid. And, yes, we're doing cardio at the same time, but it's a different goal from if I were to ask you to do, 10 burpees, 10 jam ball slams, 5 times. It's totally different goal there. So, let's talk about maybe some action steps as to how you can start to maybe feel strength, like Jolie's process from earlier, feeling strength in yourself first, or you're competing with yourself, you're trying to get better. Let's go through these. We've got 6 of them here. Someone want to take first couple away here?
Sure. I mean, definitely making sure that you're tracking. We do a really good job tracking with our app here and our tablets. Everybody's
super important.
It's a great way for you to take rest and also monitor, like, okay, what was I doing last week? Like, how am I feeling? Having those check-ins with yourself. Can I go up in my weight? Do I need to stay the same? Focus on range of motion? Do I need to ask for a spot? Making sure that you're not, again, like, we're not reaching for that 1 rep max type of a thing. We need to be able to do the full rep range and leaving those reps in reserve.
I think that's a lot of people here try to like PR like from one set to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not going to be able to do that unless you're starting probably lower than you should have.
It's either that or they leave too much in the tank.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. One of the two.
Yeah, it's one or the other usually, and it's like needing that push to go a little harder for sure. Making sure that we're, again, with that recovery, sleeping. It's a little different for everybody just depending on lifestyle, but aiming for those 7 hours, having a nice wind down at the end of the night. That's wind down, not wind down. Just making sure like we're actually like coming down, not like
what's today? Tuesday? All right, tomorrow.
Oh my God. Just making sure you're not like on your phone, just really taking time to relax.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Okay, guys. All right.
Sorry. Oh, we're still potting. My bad. Potting, a verb.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And then that same kind of, we deload depending on the phase, but usually around every 4 weeks anyways. Mm-hmm. So like if you're appropriately progressing through a phase, you're going to see, we call them integration weeks. It's essentially a deload week because you're seeing a lot of different movement patterns that aren't necessarily super conventional sometimes. It's really just to keep the body moving so you can stay consistent, keep the routine of coming into the gym, whatever your schedule was before, sticking with that. But it's not the same goal as if you were to come in on like a strength Tuesday, like today or something like that. So you're going to see a deload week naturally here at Legacy, at least about within every 4 weeks or so. So they're important for sure because that's managing stress levels in the body, but also providing enough time to work on certain lifts and skills in like a 4-week time frame. And then here's your break, here's your deload. Now let's switch gears to whatever is next. And then, I think this is kind of goes along with that. Stop adding exercises when progress stalls. When the progress stalls, it doesn't mean to switch it up completely. It just means, maybe perfect or try to, if it means taking a step back weight-wise or like load-wise on something, take that step back, perfect something. Usually you have about 4 weeks to do it. That's usually the safer route and less stressful route on your body. So I think if your goal is strength, your job in the gym isn't to survive the workout, but to improve your performance. So always compete with yourself. Keep the mentality of, 1% better every day. And, stay away from the ego lifting. It's going to come back to bite you in the butt.
Yeah.
What you got?
It's just like perfect the technique.
Yeah.
Don't do what you like sometimes. I mean,
yeah. Training for life, what you were saying earlier. Like I absolutely hate split squats. Filthy. Hate them. I learned to love them because I look like, you know, a shrimp with these like small weights trying to do like a rear foot elevated split squat. But I've grown to like them because you give yourself like little goals every day. Like, where am I trying to feel this today? Am I trying to jump out a little further from the pad today? Like, let's play with the weight, stuff like that. I think it takes a lot of mental capacity to be able to like prioritize, you know, mini goals like that, especially in the gym, and especially when you're surrounded by, you know, 8 to 10 other people that are doing similar-ish lifts to you. So it's hard to put the blinders on sometimes.
Yeah, definitely is.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right.
I feel like we hit on everything. Yeah.
I think we hit it. We'll see you guys here in the gym. Talk to you next week.
Peace.
Thank you so much for listening to the Healthy Living Scottsdale podcast. Do you have a question that you'd like for us to answer live on the podcast? If so, all you need to do is head over to the Apple Podcast app on your iPhone and do 3 simple things. First, leave us a rating and review telling me what you think of the podcast. In that review, ask anything you want related to health, fitness, or nutrition. And if you want a shout out, leave us your Instagram handle or name. That's all you have to do. Then listen to hear your questions answered live on the next Q&A episode.